Welcome to episode 11 of the TV Autopsy, slicing its way through the series you love. My name is James.
My name is Deborah.
And I am Megan.
And once again, it seems like we've been a bit tardy in getting back together.
Yes, sorry about that, guys.
Life, innit? Life.
life, war, life, COVID. Who knows what's going to be thrown at us next?
War.
I know, it's just awful, isn't it?
It is terrible.
Yeah.
But we're not going to get political.
No.
So we will talk about something better than that. People seem to like our Christmas episode or Christmas review.
Yes. Did you get any mail in the mailbox?
I got hundreds of emails thanking me for putting that little song from that trumpeter.
Trumpeter. Yes.
No, but people don't send mail nowadays, but I'm sure everybody loved it.
Well, I got feedback, and it was just that they really had really enjoyed just the lots of different recommendations for them to then go away and decide which one they were going to choose to consume next.
Well, I thought, it was quite good because we've been kind of having a chat, haven't we, about the format and whether we moved things around or not pulling back the curtain too much, but I wouldn't see any of these series if you hadn't got me to watch them. There's very few of these series that I would have watched off my own bat, really, I think. So, and I've enjoyed all of them, more or less.
Mm.
So,
yeah.
And I'm just saying that before we get on to Doom Patrol, which I know both of you don't like. So,
I've not seen it. I couldn't even comment. I couldn't comment.
And just another little change is that we are going to scatter those facts a little bit more, aren't we, Deborah, throughout the... it doesn't really matter for today because it's a bit different, but
yes,
you're going to spread them out like margarine.
Yes, I'll do that. It's because
I would have gone more like confetti. It's a much more attractive analogy.
All right, then.
It's only because I keep thinking that I might get interrupted, and so I just try and get everything out before you then interject. So, but if you're happy for me to spread like margarine, then happy to do so.
All right. So, anybody got any news? Anything that they're looking forward to?
Yes.
Oh, go on.
Russian Doll season 2 starts on the 20th of April.
Should you be watching that in this political climate? Shouldn't you be abstaining?
It's nothing to do with Russia.
Oh, right, okay, that's great.
It's more the metaphor of a doll in a doll in a doll in a doll.
Right, okie dokie.
Yes. But if you haven't seen season 1,
haven't seen it.
I would thoroughly recommend it, but it's not one of my formal recommendations for today.
Well, hold on a minute. You can't just tell us that because I know nothing about it. Tell us a little bit about what this is about.
It's really very stylistic, almost like a cool Groundhog Day type story where it's this girl's birthday and she keeps dying and waking up at her birthday party, and it's just her journey to sort of like realize that she's on this loop, identify what she can and can't do, and then trying to break the loop.
Sounds very much like a film called Happy Death Day. Have you seen that film?
You know what? I have seen Happy Death Day.
I quite like Happy Death Day.
Yeah, I did as well, actually.
Yeah.
It's. I really enjoyed that film as well. It is a comparable story, but it's different enough that it's really. It was really cool. The character, she in particular, the main character, I just really, really loved her. She's quite quirky and it was thoroughly enjoyable, and I shall definitely be watching season 2, which is set 4 years after season 1.
I quite like that when they jump a little bit because then they've got backstory, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There's lots of other new things coming back, such as Killing Eve season 4, which I've got on record. My Brilliant Friend, which is the third installment of 4 seasons. Which, if you've not seen it, it's amazing.
I'm shaking my head. Sorry, they can't see me today, so I'm going to tell you when I'm shaking my head.
Oh, okay. So you've not seen it.
I've not seen it.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. It's based on a novel by Elena Ferrante, which is, I think it was, it might have been, was it Michelle Obama's favourite novel, or it might have been Clinton's favourite novel. But anyway, it's amazing. It's set in, it's like these memoirs of a girl who befriends another girl in a very poor, driven down, poverty-stricken Naples back in the 1950s. And then season 2 moves up forward in time a little bit, and how this friendship develops, and the neighborhood and all the characters in the neighborhood. And then this latest season, I think we're now in the 1970s, and then the 4th season will be presumably the 80s. But it's
so it's 4 seasons representative of the book as a whole. 'Cause I started reading that book.
4 books.
It's 4 books, is it?
A 4-book series, yeah. And it's all in the dialect of Naples Italian of the 1950s. So even the actors had to learn how to speak in sort of Napoli.
Is that, do you mean like a bit dialect, like when Irving Welsh did Trainspotting, and it took ages to read it to understand what was going on?
Or Clockwork Orange.
Oh God, yeah, there's another one.
But it's obviously subtitled, so you would obviously watch the subtitles.
It's in Italian.
It's in Italian, yeah, but it's beautifully shot, and it's quite astonishing in some places. It's wonderful, and it's also very eye-opening, because it talks about the misogyny of the time, and just the hardships and all that sort of stuff. So that's My Brilliant Friend, thoroughly recommended, and looking forward to seeing I think it's actually out now. The 3rd season is out, because I saw it sort of playing on the telly the other day. Then we've got, what else have we got? We've got The Boys season 3, we've got Stranger Things season 4, we've got Flight Attendant season 2. These are all coming up.
And Frasier is getting a reboot.
Is it?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I didn't really like it the first time round.
I never watched it.
So sometimes
it's meant to be amazing, right?
Day on some of these reboots.
Yeah, and it's got a jazz theme tune, which I think sets it badly to begin with, because I can't stand jazz.
You don't like jazz and liquor?
I hate jazz. Really hate jazz. And yeah, I don't know.
Like Johnny hates jazz.
Yeah.
Giving me nothing but shattered dreams. Yeah, Johnny hates jazz.
Yeah, so they did Will and Grace, which I thought was okay, but they all look a bit tired. That's the problem.
Yeah. Well, exactly, and I found. I mean, Frasier just gets plugged. It's constantly on somewhere. It's a bit like Friends, isn't it? And it's like, it just. There was always that edge of cringeworthiness about it the first time round.
Is it?
I'll tell you what, even Gavin and Stacey, when they did their show a couple of years back for their Christmas special, I thought that had lost a lot of its appeal. It's kind of like you capture a moment of time, and then when you're trying to recreate it, it just doesn't quite work.
Yeah. I there were some bits of that Christmas special I found a little bit problematic, in that they didn't ring true, but I could see why they were there as a plot device. But
what, remind me, what do you mean?
Well, I couldn't have. I just didn't get the relationship between James Corden and the girlfriend, the nasty girlfriend.
But then the end was lovely.
Oh, the end was lovely.
What happened at the end?
The proposition.
What proposition?
Oh,
I can't remember it. What, with Smithy and what's the name?
Ness
Yes.
and Smithy.
Oh yeah, I can't be bothered.
Also, I think that Rob Brydon is just a bit overexposed these days. He's just in everything, and I just.
Oh, what? And James Corden isn't?
Oh no, James Corden is as well. I would make a point of not watching stuff with James Corden in it these days.
Who's the person that looks just like Rob Brydon but isn't Rob Brydon?
Rob Brydon's younger brother?
The one, no, he always gets mixed up for him.
Yes,
well,
he was in that thing about time-traveling dinosaurs about 10 years ago. They tried to do it as like a challenge to Doctor Who, but it wasn't very good.
Oh.
Tell me what this is.
A fish?
Obviously. It's a Sarcopterygian. There's no trace of them in the fossil record for 70 million years, and then suddenly one of them just pops up in the middle of the Indian Ocean. Totally inexplicable in modern evolutionary terms. See, Darwin provides most of the answers. It's the pieces that don't fit.
Do you not remember it?
No.
Time-travelling dinosaurs.
Well, the dinosaurs didn't invent time travel, but they did go through the portals and stuff.
I did not see that.
Yeah, I bet you did. I bet you've got all that. I will find out what it's called and get back to you.
You're not thinking Ben? Is he Ben Miller? That he's
That's
mistaken?
it.
Okay.
Ah.
Good old Ben Miller.
Ben Miller, wasn't he the detective in the first season of Death in Paradise?
Now that possible.
Possible, yeah, maybe.
Anyway, yes.
Ah.
Anyone looking forward to the Star Wars stuff?
No.
No.
I'm Star Wars out. It's
not on my radar.
Ooh.
There's also loads of Star Trek coming.
Oh my goodness.
And Lord of the Rings as well.
Oh, I know. I did see the Lord of the Rings trailer, and I'm actually inclined to watch that. I think I even messaged you guys saying, "Dear Lord, please make this not be shit."
oh, that was that. Sorry, I didn't look at that.
Yeah.
How rude. I did, Megan.
Yes, you responded.
I'm not that keen on Lord of the Rings. Just talking about the Star Trek, because I've been watching season 4 of Discovery, which has become so woke. It's like nothing's happened for about 10 episodes. It's all about this species that are like sucking up whole universes or whatever. I'm just not buying into it really. But Picard's just started, and good first episode, season 2, the first episode, but he's really sounding old.
Wow.
Really old.
I mean, I must have watched him in King Lear.
Oh yes.
No, was it King Lear? No, it would have been The Tempest at the theatre.
Who says The Tempest? It's a Tempest, isn't it? Tempest.
Over 10 years ago, and he was shirtless in that, and I did think he looks quite fit for his age, but he is knocking on a bit.
Wow. Okie dokie.
And that was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, he's got to be in his 80s now. He's got to be nearly 80. I know he's like best mates with Ian McKellen, and Ian McKellen's like 82. I think.
Always had a bit of a thing for old Picard, though.
Did you?
I did, yeah.
Make it so, Megan. Make it so. Primeval was that series. I don't remember Primeval.
No, yeah, I remember the series, but no, I don't. It was BBC, wasn't it?
No, it was ITV.
Oh.
back in the noughties, wasn't it? No.
I'm thinking of Being Human. Is like the other one that was on at the same time with Russell Tovey. Yeah.
Well, lots to look forward to. All right, so we are gonna have a little look at Cutting Edge. So a series that we have been watching.
Fascinating sphere of police work, the world of forensic medicine.
And Megan, why don't you kick us off?
Now, are we allowed more than one series?
No, because well, I don't know, but
I think she can, because I've only got the one to talk about in full.
All right, then, go on.
Okay, so I'm going to start with my main one, just in case you change your mind.
Down.
This was brilliant.
Oh.
So bear with me. It's called Kevin Can Fuck Himself. and
That's
it's
a bit
on.
rude.
Well, okay, when it's advertised, it's Kevin Can F Himself, but then they sort of like pan the camera through the F and then the U and then the C and then the K. It's on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
It's a dark comedy that alternates between, it's got a kind of traditional part sitcom and the rest is dark, quite dark, gritty comedy. And it's set in Worcester, Massachusetts. I'm just going to read a little bit of the briefing here. The series follows the journey of Alison McRoberts, a stereotypically smart and beautiful sitcom wife, and I'm doing inverted comma finger air quotes there, who is married to Kevin, a deeply unpleasant, self-centered man-child who is clearly punching above his weight. I'm trying to how to, so whenever he is on screen, it is 1990s style sitcom, so it's quite brightly lit. It's all, there's canned laughter. He's clearly supposed to be the funny, lovable, ha 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 individual, and the wife is often the butt of the jokes and
the straight one.
Yeah, and she then, but at the end of the first scene, you're watching it going, oh, this is very tired and it's not going to happen. She walks out of the lounge into the kitchen and it's suddenly the lighting shifts, everything is a bit dark and grainy and gritty. Ooh. And she just moves, you can see she's turned into downtrodden, oppressed wife. And during the first episode, she discovers that, or I don't want to give away more than what's actually in the first, but it transpires that he is not the nice jokey, he's a misogynistic, nasty piece of work, and various things unravel during season one. But she finds that she's been dreaming of buying a house and she's been saving all their money, and she finds out he's basically spent all the money, there's no money, and there's lots of other things that come out. He's just a very, very nasty, unlikable at best, despicable, and if he wasn't in the 1990s sitcom feel, it'd be quite interesting what he transpired like. But she makes a decision, she's got to basically break free of him and get rid of him, and anything that she's in that he's not is gritty, dark comedy. Mm-hmm. And then there's this weird juxtaposed 90s sitcom. It's so clever. Stylistically, it's amazing. They use the same sets but with totally different lighting. It has such a different feel.
Right.
And
I'm very intrigued by that.
Yes.
It's so clever. I was trying to find the quote.
What would you give it out of 10?
Oh my god, I would give it like 9+ out of 10. It interestingly, it scored 6.9 on IMDb.
They don't do nothing.
Which I think is wholly unjustified. It's coming back this year for a second season, and it had it was whichever channel made it in the States, it was their biggest audience for
It's like my mate Dave. Okay, so when the League of Gentlemen, the first series came out, I loved it, and so did Vicky. And then Dave, and you liked it. Dave came to watch it. He was one of our flatmates at the time, and he hated it because he wasn't ready for it. And then by the time the second season came around, he was all over it, and he loved it.
That sounds a bit like you with Ghosts.
Oh, well, no, it only took me one episode. It's still very much like Hide and Hider.
What?
Okie dokie. I'm going to go next. It's only a little one. Does anyone remember a sitcom called The Kids in the Hall?
Oh, yeah.
Vaguely.
Yes.
I've completely forgotten about this, and it was a subversive comedy made by a load of young American guys in probably the mid to late 80s, and they all play all the parts. So they play like female characters, male characters. They drag up, and it's kind of a bit of a precursor to the League of Gentlemen, and I'd completely forgotten about it, but it's really quite funny. Just very odd scenes. So that like there's this scene where that one of them is playing like a blues singer, and he's a blues singer, and he's got this girlfriend, and then it snaps to like the girlfriend who's a typist who's going, I just don't like him being depressed all the time. It's just it's hard to kind of explain, but I think I watched all of it, and I think it influenced me quite a lot when I was young. And
that was The Kids in the Hall.
Yeah,
and that was 80s, was it?
Yeah, it's on Amazon. It's on Amazon Prime, I think. That's where I found it. But yeah, I watched a couple of episodes, and it was still very, very funny. So,
So it stood up.
Yeah, it's really weird because I knew I'd seen it before, but it's I suppose it was of the time when you just catch an episode or so. Really late at night. But yeah, I'd kind of recommend that. And it's
not a replica. It's the exact.
It's just the original series.
Just the original, yeah. Cool. Amazon Prime. My turn?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so I've been watching Inventing Anna.
I've heard about this.
Which is on Netflix at the moment. It's I think it's the biggest trending one at the moment. I am literally on the last episode. So there's 9 episodes, and I'm on episode. I've just finished or halfway through episode 8. But it's an interesting one. It's based on. Well, it's quite extraordinary, really. Based on a true story of a 25-year-old-ish socialite called Anna Delvey, who purported to be a Russian-born German heiress to like a $60 million trust fund, and she basically touted herself to be this kind of genius entrepreneur, looking to open up some kind of very kind of elite, rich arts social club, a bit like Soho House, but in New York. However, it transpires that with all her hobnobbing with the rich and the influential, with bank managers and lawyers and CEOs of all these big companies, that she might have actually been a con artist, and she basically defrauded out of all her associates, her friends, and all of these people, the banks and CEOs and all sorts, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Big federal American banks. It stars Julia Garner, who plays Ruth in Ozark, the blonde curly-haired one. So she plays Anna Delvey, and Anna Chlumsky, who you might remember as the little girl in My Girl with Macaulay Culkin.
Oh, the one that died from the bee stings. Oh no, that was him, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh no, irrelevant.
So she plays the part of this journalist who's trying to unpick and write her story. So basically, the real journalist was a woman called Jessica Pressler. She wrote a New York article entitled "How Anna Delvey Tricked New York's Party People," and about a month after it was published, Shonda what's her name? Shonda Rhimes, I think, picked it up and said, I want to make this into a series. And she was a bit unsure about it. Now, this same journalist wrote an article that was nominated for an award, which was then turned into the film Hustlers. Remember the film Hustlers with the one, didn't it win an Oscar or two? Hustlers.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen it. So is that based on Anna What's Her Face as well?
No, so this is the journalist that wrote that article.
It's separate story.
But the person that
Jennifer Lopez was in Hustlers. Is it that one?
Jennifer Lawrence.
No, Jennifer Lopez. Inspired by the viral New York Magazine article. Oh no, maybe it's a different Hustler. Sorry, I'm not doing very well, am I? Carry on. There's lots of hustlers.
Oh yeah, sorry, I'm thinking of The Hustle. No, you're right. Jennifer Lopez. She plays Jessica Pressler, sort of loosely based journalist. Anyway,
no, I'm thinking of The Hustle.
Yeah, I'm thinking of The Hustle, not Hustlers. The Hustle. Anyway, it's really extraordinary because basically this journalist Vivian Kent, as she's known, she's kind of like the storyteller, or she's like telling us, the audience, what's going on. She's unpicking all of this and interviewing Anna Delvey, who's been picked up, arrested, and is awaiting trial. She's sitting in Rikers Island awaiting trial for basically grand larceny and fraud, and is trying to get a story together, but is going out and investigating by interviewing all these top people that you and I would have heard of, and other people that we would never have heard of because they're just the social elite, very rich, or, you know, they might be CEO of, I don't know, some big airline or whatever that we might never have heard of, but very, you know, all the kind of rich list that she's been managing to hobnob her way around. And it's just extraordinary, the kind of the audacity, the confidence that this young 20-something girl manages to, I don't know, convince all these people that she is this German heiress with this, you know, this big plan, this big dream, and she wants people to help her achieve this dream by literally parasiting money off them, and coasting from hotel to rich house, and talking to like big finance lawyers to convince the banks to lend her $40 million to get this set up. It's just extraordinary. Now, I
at the same time, she's racking up massive bills in hotels, isn't she? And leeching money off
her friends,
supposedly friends.
Yeah. And nobody really knows who she is. But what I found it a bit conflicting because I've got mixed feelings about it. Because on the one hand, Julia Garner, we know that she's a really good actress, but she's got this accent, which is a very strangely mixed up accent, which apparently now there's lots of TikTok memes and so on going around. She's got this accent, which is German, French, Slovakian, not even French, Russian. It's, you know, kind of European accent, which is non-placeable. She's incredibly rude. She's completely charmless. She's unlikable. She's quite plain. Even though she is spending,
harsh, isn't it?
Even though she's spending thousands of pounds on the best clothes, and she'll get into a hissy fit if she doesn't get the right clothes. There was a part where she's meant to stand trial at the end. The bit I've not yet seen, but I've read about it, and it's true that this is what actually happened. She has a hissy fit about not having the right clothes to wear for trial, that kind of thing. You know, I've got to wear Yves Saint Laurent or whatever. You know, she's very kind of not a very narcissistic, petulant, childlike character. And I just find that it's kind of unbelievable. Is this a miscast? Is this not being cast properly, or is this just the writing? Because it really jars that this girl, essentially, who's going around wearing baby doll dresses, is convincing all of these people who are generally much older than her and generally in big, huge positions of responsibility, are believing in this girl.
Well, I don't know now if you like it or not.
You don't know what?
Whether you like this series or not.
But this is the conflict that I'm having, because it makes sense that it is so unbelievable. Because when you Google image Anna Delvey and you put the two pictures together of the real Anna Delvey and the actress that plays Anna Delvey, Julia Garner, I mean, it's, you know, they've got her all down, you know, in terms of what she's wearing and what she looks like. So it's quite compelling. You can't help but want to keep watching and see how this pans out, because in a way you kind of say, fair play to this European girl who's come over from America with not a stitch of money on her, but convinces everyone that she's this, you know, millionaire heiress, and this is what she wants to do. And she is literally living the high life and living off people, and they're all believing her. It's so I wonder if it's a deliberate way of portraying her, and maybe that is what she was actually like. is actually like. You know, she's now incarcerated serving a sentence, but the
Right.
sheer, you know, it's it's an extraordinary, compelling story.
Do you find yourself watching it with your phone out so you can Google stuff to see if it really happened?
Just the once I wanted to see what she looked like in real life, because I just couldn't believe how this kind of plain charmless, unlikable, rude, obnoxious
Right, I'm
girl-
going to have a look at her now. What's her name? Because you've said she's played about 100 times. What's her name?
Anna Delvey.
Anna Delvey. I will give you my
And in all seriousness, the actress Julia Garner is far more beautiful than the real Anna Delvey.
She looks like a young, uglier version of Deirdre Barley.
With her big glasses.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's very watchable. You know, I'm not sure in terms of the production itself. There are various characters that do have their charms, such as the journalist colleagues that sit in this place called Scriberia, which is basically the corner of the office where journalists go to die. They don't even get a window. But the rich and the influential that are on there, and the other characters, her associates that she's involved with, they're all pretty hateful, unlikable characters. But it's still an incredible story, and it's only recent times. You know, she was only convicted a couple of years, but a few years ago.
What's it on?
It's on Netflix.
Netflix. All right. Okay. So, has anyone got anything else? Because I've got an extra one. Actually, I've just thought one. Go on, Megan. You're next. But let's do this a little bit quicker, because otherwise we'll be here all night.
So, well, I do actually have two, but I'm going to go with the next one, which is Yellow Jackets.
Now I've heard very good things about this.
Well, unfortunately, I have to break some bad news to you, which is it's no longer on Sky/Now TV, because it had a time-bound run. Although I'm sure that they will re-show it, because it is getting a season 2 release. I'm sure there'll be a rerun then.
So what's it about?
Right. So it scores 8 on IMDb. It's equal parts survival epic psychological horror story, coming of age drama, and it's set in 2 parallel time frames. So
parallel
time zones, timelines. So it's the story of a high school soccer team that makes it to the national finals, and on the flight to the national finals, the flight crashes in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere, and they are basically just in deep wilderness. And so one storyline is in 1996 when the plane crashes, and the other storyline is current day with some of the survivors. And
what? So they didn't get out of the woods?
Some of them made it out, but not for 18 months. So there's this 18-month period where they are stuck. This small group are stuck in the woods and going into like Lord of the Flies survival mode.
Great.
But all women?
Not all women, because there's a coach. There's I thought it was a football team. How can women play football? I'm only kidding.
I laughed there out of politeness, but I'm retracting that laugh.
I'm joking. I don't know anything about football. Go on.
That makes it better.
And then it's and then the other story is obviously 25 years later, and there's something from their parts when they were saved. They've made a pact not to talk about it. So the most they ever talk about is it was really hard. And they've all gone their different ways. So one of them is you see her coming out of rehab. One of them is your average suburban housewife mum. One of them is running for Congress. But something comes back, and they're suddenly being sent postcards with a certain symbol on them on it, which is obviously it's kind of the two stories are linked, and
I know what you did last summer.
It's a bit Lord of the Rings. I know what you did last summer 25 years ago.
Lord of the Flies.
Yeah.
What did I say? Lord of the
Rings.
My
My precious.
That sounds really good though.
It is really good, and the way you kind of like, you spend the first couple of episodes trying to piece together which girl is which adult, and I mean some of them are obvious, but some of them, it's just really clever. And then it's just this constantly peeling back onion of a story, and they've only, by the end of season 1, and there is a season 2 coming, but by the end of season 1 they'd only covered about maybe the first 3 months or after the plane crash. There's
they know what they're doing there. It's
yeah,
like
I was going to say, so they've deliberately
so it's Lost
out.
meets Lord of the Flies meets I Know What You Did Last. It's really enjoying it. Really enjoyed it. It's finished for now. Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully it'll be back. We'll let you know if it comes back. All right. I just wanted to quickly mention series 3 of What We Do in the Shadows dropped onto BBC iPlayer. Have you seen this series, you two?
Not the series, no. I've seen bits and pieces of the show, but not watched, down to watch it.
So it was based on a film by Tika Tak. What was his name? Not Tika.
Taka the Otter.
What is his name? I can't say it anyway.
Taka Doll.
Tiki Waititi, I want to say.
Yeah, not Tikaram, who did
Tikaram.
The good tradition of love and hate.
The guy who did Jojo Rabbit.
I love Jojo Rabbit.
Not seen it.
You've not seen it? Oh well, we can't talk about this film.
No, I've got it on record since last Christmas or before.
Oh, it's so good. Taika Waititi, that guy. Anyway, so it's based on a film that he wrote, and it's now a series, and it's basically a fly-on-the-wall documentary about camera crew that have permission to go and film a group of vampires living in modern-day America. And it's got Matt Berry, the one who always talks like that, who I find incredibly irritating usually, but he's perfectly cast.
We love him.
Well, I don't.
Supermarket.
But he's perfectly cast in this. So there's 2 male vampires and then this female European vampire. And they also live with a guy called Colin Robinson, who is a what's it called? A social vampire or something? An energy vampire. He's basically very, very boring. And what he does is bores people and drains their energy.
Mood Hoover.
Yeah, it is so funny. And it keeps just getting better. And this is the final series. They're not making any more, I don't think, because of the way it ended. But it's just so funny.
It's set in are all series set in the US?
Yeah, so they're just living in this house, and they're all about 400 or 500 years old, and they've got this. I think it's called Guillermo, who is a familiar who is just obsessed with becoming a vampire, and they're never going to make him into a vampire.
Because they don't want to be stuck with him, you mean?
He's just not important enough to them. So, it opens with him going, I think tonight they're going to make me a vampire. I got you your present, Gilmore. And then he shows him like he's made a glitter picture of him and Gilmore as a vampire. It's very funny.
Right, I've definitely seen something, but I hadn't clocked it as American. Was there an English version? Is this a remake of an English series?
No, so the film was based in a place called New Zealand. And so I think that was all set over there.
A place called New Zealand.
New Zealand. I was going to say a place called Manor House Park.
And this series, it's set in America, but I think it's a partnership between the BBC. Yeah, but I
think it was on BBC Two, isn't it?
It is. It's on the BBC. Yeah, it's on the BBC iPlayer now. But it's just so funny. Like this whole thing about Matt Berry's got this witch's hat, and his wife has got, oh bloody hell, you've got that bloody witch's hat. It's cursed, man. And he's put this every time he puts a hat on, something terrible happens, and I like the hat.
You sound like Anna Delvey now.
Well, I'm not. Well, you know, just watch it. It's great. I don't know who's Anna Delvey. Oh, yes. Sorry.
Inventing Anna.
Inventing Anna. There we go. Oh, all right. Is that it? Are we done? Should we move on?
There's one very little addition.
Go on then.
Oh no, it's Deborah. Have you got something?
All I was going to say was I watched The Girl Before that you suggested.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it. No, I didn't like it. And I watched The Responder because everyone said to watch The Responder. Do you remember
didn't like it.
And respond to us. What did you think of it?
Oh no, it was just quite good. It was quite good.
Oh.
Martin Freeman and his Liverpudlian accent being some kind of urgent response officer on night shifts in Liverpool, and he's kind of morally compromised, has mental health issues that he's dealing with. That kind of thing. Work, coming into homework, blah blah. It was good.
Can I very quickly mention Upload, because season 2 is coming out on Amazon Prime next week, and basically it's there's a chap who, it's set in the future, and you can be digitally uploaded instead of dying, so that you live forever, and the digital world can interact, like you can call your mates back on in the real world. And this guy, he is in a driverless car crash with his girlfriend, and she is absolutely loaded. And at the hospital, she insists that he gets uploaded rather than operated on. And so, and because her family's loaded, she's using her grandmother's plan for this heaven, so it's her grandmother's idea of heaven, which is this really old-fashioned hotel. Anyway, so he gets uploaded, and gradually through the series you start thinking about, well, maybe actually someone was out to kill him and all of this sort of stuff. But it's the interaction between the digital life and real life is just quite excellent in weird and off, and just
so wait, so they die?
Yeah, they basically, their heads get blown to pieces in the process of upload.
They covered it in an episode of Doctor Who. So they your consciousness gets put into a computer, basically.
Yeah, so it's a bit like the Downsize.
Yeah.
Matt Damon meets The Good Place, meets Free Guy, meets We Are Legion, We Are Bob. If you haven't ever read that season, and it's not entirely original, but it is pretty enjoyable.
Sounds fun to me.
Yeah.
All right.
Season 2 next week gets released next week on Amazon Prime, and it scores an 8 on IMDb.
You are obsessed with IMDb. What's going on, Megan?
Because I always think it's quite good rate just to know what other people are making of it.
Well, what does TVA rate it?
I don't know.
That's us.
Oh, sorry. Big thumbs up, but not as big a thumbs up as Kevin can fuck himself.
All right, have we got any flatliners? Deborah, you stuck one in just then, didn't you, with the...
With the Girl Before, yeah, I didn't like it. It's
Did you not like the house? Did you not think that was interesting?
It's an interesting character, but I just thought it was just a bit. The men, every single male character in the show, it was just. They were
awful human beings.
But
we should be watching male characters and be mindful of what some of them do that is normal, which is unacceptable behaviour. And I thought that was part of its excellent, was that its male characters were not pleasant.
Like Jimmy Savile.
Well, they weren't quite Jimmy Savile, but it was a little bit more subtle than that. But there was the narcissist.
There was just not one redeeming male character in there, and that was very sad to me, because it's like, can we not trust any man in any walk of life that we come across? And that felt a bit bleh. And that, I didn't like it. I thought it was a bit Amdrammy.
Oh, controversial. All right. Have you got anything, Megan, that you want to say for flatlining?
Flatlining? No.
No, you've not seen any rubbish.
Yeah, you've seen a lot of television, but
Well,
nothing.
I've there's
To avoid, like,
no,
Oh, that's
not
great.
that I can. No.
All right, well, let's move swiftly on then, because we are going to move on to our main feature, which we're going to whiz over really, I think, a little bit. But we are going to be looking at the series Doom Patrol.
This is the story of 5 fearless superheroes.
Justice League 2020.
More TV superheroes, just what the world needs.
Do you have a photo printer in there somewhere?
No.
Is it your butt? I bet it's his butt.
Are we really the best people to hunt a supervillain?
Hell no.
All right, so Deborah, as you haven't watched it, you haven't got any facts, so I will give you my kind of tiny little facts that I've got because I didn't write many down. It started in 2019, and the showrunner is Jeremy Carver. It's based on Doom Patrol, which is a comic book by Arnold Drake, Bob Haney, and Bruno Premiani. It's a DC comic. It's on Stars, which is an add-on for Amazon Prime, something like £2 a month. And
it's not £2 a month after the initial period.
Is it not?
No, it's £8 a month or something.
You're joking.
I cancelled it because I'm like, I will pick it up again when there's something I want to watch a few things.
Oh my God, I've been just thinking it's only £2 a month.
No, check that's the introductory offer, and then they sneak it up.
God. All right, and the actors are Diane Aguero, April Bowlby, Alan Tudyk, Matt Bomer, Brendan Fraser. You might remember him from The Mummy.
George of the Jungle.
Oh, George of the Jungle. Well, he's changed a bit since those days. I can tell you.
Yeah, you said he's got a bit fat.
Timothy Dalton.
Are we allowed to say fat?
No, I wasn't going to say that. I was going to say he's turned into a robot, Deborah. All right.
Robot.
So right, cards on the table. Who watched this?
I watched about half season 1 previously.
Yeah.
And lost my
mind.
Lost my mojo to carry.
Oh.
All right, well, let me just give you a little kind of overview of what it's about, because I really like it. So it's about five very dysfunctional superheroes who are all drawn together by this professor played by Timothy Dalton.
With a pen?
Eh? Oh,
she gets disruptive when she hasn't got a fact in front of her, doesn't she?
And basically, he creates these superheroes, by want of a better word, and they're all really dysfunctional. So you have got one character who was a 1950s B-movie film star who was an absolute bitch. She was horrible. She got someone fired off a set because he only had one arm. You know, she didn't want to look at him. He's ugly, he's hideous. And anyway, she gets bitten by this like creature, which basically makes her whole skin just turn into a big blob. So every time she's stressed, her face just melts. So someone who's incredibly vain, that's just like the worst thing that could happen. And then you've got a guy who who has an alien entity inside him, and he's nuclear radioactive, so he has to be covered in bandages. You've got a character
But the girl with the multiple personalities.
She's got about 18 different personalities who all have different superpowers.
Very difficult to keep up.
And then the last one is Brendan Fraser, who was this 80s race car driver who was a terrible human being by all accounts, and basically had a terrible accident, and all they saved was his brain, so they put him into like a really old-fashioned looking robot. and it's just quite surreal and odd, and it builds and builds. So like there's a character called Danny the Street, basically. And the character is the street, and this street appears every now and then in different locations, and it's a very, very camp street. And So like the FBI are trying to hunt this street, and one of the FBI people goes into the street, and then he ends up being a drag queen in this street because Danny helps everybody be themselves. And then season 3, the whole premise of season 3 is our 50s film star travels back in time, basically. And she's working for this department where they don't like people with special powers, blah, blah, blah. But the brilliant thing about it is they form a club called the Sisters of Dada. And they just, every lunch hour, they go downstairs and do just crazy things like, do you know what Dadaism is?
Yeah.
So Dadaism was like a movement in like the 20s.
Arts movement. It started with poetry. It started with poetry. A poet started it, and then it kind of, the artist then started to move into it and make it into something even bigger.
I used to be really pretentious at university, called it Dadaism, but it is Dadaism. Anyway, it's just so funny, and it's lovely, and I think it's a brilliant series, and that's all I want to say about it, really.
Congratulations.
I don't know why. Why did you like it?
You preferred it over the Umbrella Academy, didn't you?
I really did. I thought
because I'd watched the Umbrella Academy and absolutely adored the Umbrella Academy. So watching that, you know, there are the analogy. No, what's the word?
There's comparisons, definitely.
Yeah.
Do you know what I watched? I watched Doom Patrol before Umbrella Academy, and whereas I have probably a sophisticated enough palate to be able to differentiate between the two, I do understand that if you watched one first, that you might prefer it to the other. But I like the subversive qualities of Doom Patrol.
I seem to recall that in the pilot episode of TV Autopsy, you would, without me and Deborah, you were discussing the Umbrella Academy.
I was, with my split personality,
and you kept comparing it to Doom Patrol.
Because I really like Doom Patrol.
There we are.
Well, there's not a lot I can say about it if nobody really watched it. But so apart from the Umbrella thing, what did you not did you not like the characters? I thought the characters were great.
Do you know what? It could have been anything. If I went back to watch it again now, which I've had a really good run of excellent TV.
Fair enough.
So it's been really tricky. I'm currently finally decided to try and consume The Crown, which I'm enjoying.
Have you not seen The Crown?
I need to get on it as well. I have not seen any of it.
I'm enjoying it a million times better than I thought I would.
Well, can I just give a little shout out to my Baked Bean actors for the Baked Bean Theatre Company, a group of actors with learning disabilities who are in season 4 in a whole episode. So there.
Oh wow! Well, I haven't got on to season 4 yet, so I shall keep my eyes peeled.
My friend is in it.
But yeah, there's I've just been really I try and find my mojo to go back and rewatch the second half of season 1 on the Doom Patrol. I was struggling a little bit, but I couldn't put my finger on why. It was like it didn't completely consume me, so I obviously got sidetracked by something else.
Fair enough. Can I just ask about The Crown? All right, so Emma Foy played the Queen. What was the name?
Claire
Foy.
Well, close enough. So Claire Foy was season 1 and 2, yes?
Yes.
I'm writing this down. Right, who played the Queen in seasons 3 and 4?
Olivia Colman.
Right, so she's back for season 5, I see. Or am I imagining that? I'm sure I saw the trailer.
Don't know.
Yeah, because I thought it was Patricia Routledge, but I'm not sure now.
Don't know. I'm on season 3 at the moment.
Is that the one with the coal slag heap and stuff?
Yeah, Aberfan. Yeah, just seen that.
You've watched that, take it, Deborah?
I have not seen any of The Crown yet.
Yeah,
I
was fairly resistant to it, but I've really enjoyed it, and it's really. I have to have I'm googling it constantly, going and seeing. There's times when you think, they're being quite sympathetic towards that particular individual, and then you see something else, and you go, "What a despicable human being."
Oh, goodness me! What about the bits?
It's not exactly true to fact. True to
yeah,
fact.
It's not. I suppose it's more truthful to fact than. I don't know, The Only Way is Essex, which is all nonsense. But I suppose so. You've got the facts that they lay on, and then I suppose they just have to guess what they said.
Yeah, so there are
Poetic
they've obviously got there's certain things which are a matter of public record, but I think that the royal family's response to some of those things are broadly interpreted.
Yeah. Do you
they
think they all get together and watch it? How weird to have
they have made comments, haven't they? They have said it's you know, it's fodder, but it's not true, they say.
No, but if you had a whole series made about you and your family, you would definitely watch it, wouldn't you?
Oh, you totally would.
Yeah, would you? I
totally would.
Going, oh, look what they've done to you.
But do you know what? There's there's bits that you see, and like even on a factual level, you're just kind of like, well, she had a rough time of it, or that was brutal, or you know, there's. I'm not a particular royalist, which is I think why I was fairly resistant to watching it.
See, I am, which is why I kind of don't want to watch it.
Oh, I
in a
think
way.
that
I do want to watch it, but
I think they're quite
lot
sympathetic to the royal family, really.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
I think it is, and I think it adds a layer of stuff that you probably don't think of, that like as to why they're all a bit broken, and it's some of it is desperately sad, and some of it is, I mean, some of the stuff about the Duke of Windsor, I did know a lot of that, but some of it it adds some colour.
Yeah. Hey, do you think Meghan Markle will play herself? Because they're going to be right. It'll be right up to date, and she's an actress.
It's not far off, is it? It's not far off getting. I mean, there's some pretty horrendous treatment of indivials throughout it.
Oh, name these individuals.
Well, I think Princess Margaret had an absolutely horrendous run of it, being banned from various bits and pieces.
She did have her own island, though. That helped to make up for it.
She hung out with Mick Jagger a lot, didn't she, over in that island? Didn't she?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, but you're not up to there, obviously.
No, I'm not up to there yet. But
no, this is a documentary I saw.
No, but you see her on the island, haven't it? But yeah, I think it's a tough life to be a royal.
And Prince Charles, I think, with Camilla. I mean, the one saving thing with the Camilla story is, you know, they end up together, but like, you know, none of them ever get to be with who they want to be, or you know. And there's these just constant rules that you just think you. With hindsight as well, you can't look at going, you know, you did need to move. You do need to move with the times, and the fact that it's been done like that for hundreds of years.
What I really enjoyed in the last series, which I don't think you're up to yet, but obviously in the last we had Diana and we had Thatcher, and the way they introduced Princess Diana, she's like dressed up in a Midsummer Night's Dream costume and hiding behind foliage and like leaf plants and stuff, and being all elfin. It's just so silly. And then you've got, I want to say Gillian Telforth, but
Gillian Anderson.
I always have that problem. Gillian Anderson doing what I think is a great, take on Margaret Thatcher. Really watchable and quite funny, and you know the way that they're just so suburban, her and Dennis, and they're going, you know, they have to go to Balmoral and like walk through mud and stuff, and it's very entertaining.
Yeah, I think some of the portrayals of the characters, how they've sort of like, particularly the characters as they've got older and it's new actors and playing them.
Yeah,
it's how they then keep those characters. Helen Bonham Carter's brilliant.
Oh, I think she's brilliant in everything. I'm a big fan of hers. Except that those adverts for tea. You know, she's got an advert where she's drinking tea or something.
No, it's for sofas, DFS.
Oh, right, yeah, but she goes on about tea an awful lot. See, it didn't work on me, did it?
She's doing DFS adverts.
Sat on the sofa, yeah.
Well, since she broke up with what's his name, she needs the money.
That was years ago.
I know, exactly. It's all gone.
I've been outside their houses.
Weird.
Stalking them. Have you had any court action yet?
It was behind a sort of a pub, sort of Belsize Park Road or something. It was Belsize Park somewhere.
You're playing Knockdown Ginger.
All right, so come on. Let's get back to some substance. Let's get back to normal. What are you going to give us for next time, Deborah?
Pieces of Her.
Okay.
I came across it scrolling Netflix right
in the
now.
last hour.
In the last hour.
Well done, brilliantly researched.
I've chosen it because it's got Toni Collette in it, and I think she's a marvel. So
who's she now?
Muriel's Wedding.
Muriel's Wedding, yeah.
No.
Toni Collette. I've been in a film with her.
That's 2. I'm gonna start doing the bell every time your name drop.
Great. You know Toni Collette, Sixth Sense, the mum in Sixth Sense.
Well, I don't remember her.
You don't remember Muriel's Wedding?
Oh, I'm just gonna have a look. Well, I didn't think it was all that. I don't know what everyone's
Have you
going on
seen,
about, but I do hate weddings.
Sunshine, Little Miss Sunshine. She was in the mum in Little
Years
Miss Sunshine.
ago.
Oh, anyway, Toni Collette. It says here on Netflix, it says, a woman pieces together her mother's dark past after a violent attack in their small town brings hidden threats and deadly secrets to light.
Didn't Kate Winslet do that last year?
Yeah. So that's how many episodes? It looks like there are 8 episodes. So digestible, 1 hour each.
Brilliant.
Episode. Netflix. Suspenseful and emotional. There you go.
Okay.
Pieces of her.
Pieces of her.
Well, I suppose that's it, unless you want to join us after the credits roll for us to talk about our special feature this week, which is nothing. Everyone's looking really surprised. No, we're not doing it this week, but we'll probably bring that back next time.
Very good.
Lovely.
Well, it's lovely catching up, girls.
Oh, it is.
Isn't it nice?
Should we set a date now? So that
So we will be back in a month, won't we? We're not going to let it drag.
No, let's not let it drag. We're coming into the Easter holidays, aren't we? Around the 4th, 5th of April.
I don't know.
Yes, so maybe during the Easter holidays at some point, either the 4th or 5th or the 11th or the 12th, something like that.
So pop those dates in your diary, listener, and one of those dates will pop up.
Amazing.
Righto. Well, I'm going to go and try and find Yellow Jackets, I think. I'm really intrigued.
Yeah, I want to see if it's still available.
Well, it was on Now TV, and I think it had a limited run left, so I don't think it's still available.
You can always go and buy it on Amazon Prime.
I'm sure I've seen it on Amazon Prime. Yeah. Okay, fine. Yeah. All right then.
All right then.
All right.
That's it. Take care. See you soon.
Bye guys. Bye.